The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Jesus told his disciples a parable about the necessity for them to pray always without becoming weary. He said, "There was a judge in a certain town who neither feared God nor respected any human being. And a widow in that town used to come to him and say, 'Render a just decision for me against my adversary.' For a long time the judge was unwilling, but eventually he thought, 'While it is true that I neither fear God nor respect any human being, because this widow keeps bothering me, I shall deliver her a just decision, lest she finally come and strike me.' The Lord said, 'Pay attention to what the dishonest judge says. Will not God then secure the rights of his chosen ones, who call out to him day and night? Will he be slow to answer them? I tell you, he will see to it that justice is done for them speedily. But when the Son of Man comes, will he find faith on earth?'" The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to the Lord Jesus Christ.
Jesus told his disciples a parable about the necessity for them to pray always without becoming weary. That's beautiful. I think it's very apropos. There's a lot to be learned, definitely for me. I think that temptation to grow weary in prayer is like always looming, you know? And I think we can just kind of maybe fall into it too if we're not careful and like intentional of not, right? We can become like Moses, who just like grew weary, his hands grew tired, and so he just let him fall down and not really intercede, you know? So I think there's a lot here, and we kind of got to narrow it down a little bit, because anytime we speak about prayer, like that's a broad topic, you know? So I think what the church has in front of us today is maybe like the kind of that petitionary prayer. Like, hey, Lord, help out. Lord, bless this person, something like that, you know. He's given us the example of the widow who just like keeps hounding on the judge until he finally makes a decision, you know. So I think we would just maybe stick into the petitionary side of things in prayer. Lord, how do we intercede? How do we petition our Lord without becoming weary, whether it's on the behalf of us or behalf of someone else, you know? So what's that look like? Well, first, I don't know. I notice how I become weary is when I just get overwhelmed with like the amount of prayer intentions that are necessary out there in my life or whatever. Maybe it's not even like the needs of others, just the things to like appeal to God about. And it's just like so many of them, and I get a little overwhelmed with the amount of them that I don't even talk to him specifically about any of them. I'm just kind of like, I don't know, Lord, bless the world. Okay, that's too vague. Our Lord wants some specifics. What's the needs, man? Okay, so that's where I kind of get bogged down, is the broadness of it all. So I don't know if you're there or not. There's plenty of reasons where we grow weary. But I think to help us in that is to be specific, to be intentional, and to just like not get overwhelmed with the broadness, but like, okay, Lord, bless this person. And what's even, I think, helpful in not just bless this person, like enter into that person's shoes, what they might be going with, and like, okay, Lord, like help them with this. I bet they're dealing with this or coming at it from this perspective, or this is where I'm at specifically. You know, and I feel like the more we kind of like are more not only intentional, but then more like compassionate with the situation, it's a little cathartic, you know, and we like kind of release some of the anxiety that goes along with the need and give it to our Lord. You know, we're actually talking to him. We're praying in a conversation to him about like what's going on and the needs, you know. It becomes more of a dialogue versus this vague like, bless this person, I'm on to the next one, you know. So I feel like that's how we can help not grow weary, but also be effective in our prayer. Like our Lord wants to hear our prayers. He says he's going to answer them if we really petition him. So that's one way of maybe not growing weary and being intentional. I feel like intentionality is kind of the go-to word here. So I'd even say, like, yeah, throughout our day for sure, when these things come to mind, but also like what we're doing now is like the most intentional act we can do. We think of the Mass is an intentional prayer. Every Mass a priest celebrates for the most part, he's got an intention. It's written in the bulletin. This Mass is offered for this person. That's not the only intention he has, but it's one. All right, so you guys are all priests in the pews. You're offering this Mass too, through the priest at the altar. And so it's good to have intentions you're bringing to this Mass and not just showing up, here I am again, whatever. No, what are you praying for? What are you offering here? Prayers of thanksgiving. So-and-so needs prayers. I need prayers. I need help, whatever. Be intentional. That's kind of that's the go-to word. Is like, what is the intention of my Mass here? What am I bringing before the Lord here that I need answered? So there again, it just gets us out of this weariness that our hands don't kind of go limp and we stay focused in praying specifically. Okay. So then the other one, I like the first reading where Moses is interceding, and as long as his hands are held up, as long as he's interceding on behalf of Joshua and the boys, they're winning the battle. Okay, and he goes but he still keeps them up, and when he intercedes, they win. So the same is true with all the intercession of the saints in heaven. Like, we're part of something way bigger than ourselves. So whether we petition the saints in heaven, they hold their hands up and intercede on our behalf, but we ask him to help, or even just here on earth. I think if any time I'm given or I'm up against something, or I'm given a situation to pray for that's like, man, this is big, and probably maybe a little, I need some reinforcement here. I'll call the monastery. Like, hey, boys, here's the prayer intention. Lift up your hands, intercede for us. And I've seen mountains move, no joke. Okay, that's their purpose. There is a monastery here in Wyoming, Carmelite Monastery. Call them up. Leave a message. There's other monasteries around. This is their point. Purpose in the church is to intercede on our behalf. So I guess my encouragement is here, don't grow weary. Like, fight. Intercede on our behalf. When we need help, call the big guns. Saints in heaven, monasteries, things like that. But our prayers are effective, and we don't want to be just sluggish and like kind of throw our hands in the air. No, we want to intercede on each other's behalf and ourselves and petition the Lord with zeal and confidence and faith. So, but we don't do it alone. We ask for help. So we come here, we're intentional, we're specific about our prayers. We enter into the shoes of those we're praying for and ask the Lord to bless them. Okay, then we also, like at Mass, we don't just haphazardly do this. What are our intentions? What are the intentions we're asking for at Mass? And then we also seek the intercession of the saints in heaven, but also those here on earth, specifically those in high places, the monasteries. They're close to the Lord, at least they should be, and they intercede on our behalf. Okay. So anyway, just some encouragement for all of us to take our Lord's words at heart, pray always without growing weary. We do that, I just say, be intentional, be intentional. Like, if we're praying, intercede on each other's behalf, petition the Lord, do not grow weary, be at peace, pray always.